I'm going to give you 5 strategies before the end of this video that are going to show you how you can become a real estate investor and do it with other people's money, and it's really not that hard. Before the end of the video, stick around to the end. I'm going to tell you which one is my very favorite way to buy real estate with no money out of your own pocket. Let's get into it, guys. What's the first strategy that I use, both as a buyer and even sometimes as a seller? Here's the first strategy that I love to use, and I've been using it for years and years, guys. It's called seller financing. Maybe you've heard of it. Banks aren't all the be-all, end-all, especially when you're a real estate investor. Here's why. Banks don't move fast enough for you. Banks don't lend on distressed properties when you want to buy distressed value-add real estate investment properties. You generally can't use the banks. So, negotiating a seller finance deal, i.e., putting the seller in the place of the bank and paying him over time, is a great way for you to get into real estate investing, and you don't need to come up with a whole bunch of money out of your pocket. In fact, you can do it with $0 out of pocket if you structure the deal properly. Let me talk about what seller financing is and what it isn't. Seller financing is a way for you to purchase real estate even when you can't get the bank loan. You ask the seller to become the bank. When you're doing a seller finance deal, the seller's going to put himself as the banker. He's going to lend you the money to purchase the house from him, and you're going to pay him in an installment loan. So you're going to monthly give him payments. You're going to be able to negotiate with this person, this seller. You're going to be able to negotiate the price, the terms. The terms are how long the loan will be for. The interest rate is what interest you pay on the money that you owe the person. The monthly payments, how many monthly payments you're going to do, even a balloon payment. So why is this so valuable? As real estate investors, we know that if we're buying distressed property, we want to buy it at all cash, way down here. But a lot of times the sellers may be stuck on a number and they want up here for it. They want too much for it. But if you can give them less money out of pocket and negotiate with them so that they start getting monthly payments while you do the work, while you do the renovation, the value add, and bring it up to its highest and best use, this is a really, really lucrative way for you, the real estate investor, to be able to buy a piece of real estate, pay the seller the price that he wants for it, which maybe is a little bit of a premium from your cash price, which was way down here, but you get a great deal on it because he lends you the money at a low interest rate or even a 0 interest rate very often. We always like to start with a 0 interest rate, although we don't like to lend at a 0 interest rate. You see how that works? I want to borrow at a low interest rate. I want to lend at a high interest rate. When you're a real estate investor, you get the best of both worlds, and you can do this too, guys. I'm telling you from a lifetime of experience, this is something that we've used over the years, both as a buyer, often as a buyer, but now often as a seller. So when we're selling things, we'll want to make it easy for you, the real estate investor, or you, the homeowner, to come in and buy the property, and you're buying it at retail for us, say if you're a homeowner, and we lend you the money as if we're the bank. And because interest rates have gone up, it's very attractive for me to do this. If I can get a nice down payment, I want to lend it. So this is a great way to become a real estate investor, both to buy something with low money out of pocket or 0 down, and then to sell something to someone else and allow them to come in with the low down payment. I particularly like to buy rental properties using this seller financed method. And so recently we've done a couple in Orlando, Florida, where we find a tired landlord and he's used to getting installments. He's used to getting rent. And we go to him and we say, hey, Mr. Tired Landlord, we see that you're selling the house. You've been renting it for 25 years and you're ready to be done with that. You don't want the headaches anymore. You're tired of having to get up on a Sunday afternoon to go fix a plumbing problem or even just call the plumber. So why don't you let us take over that problem for you? Remember, guys, real estate investors get paid to solve problems, and we can solve the problems for tired landlords. They're used to getting rent on a monthly basis. So when I make the offer at their price, I can pay them what is effectively now a new rent that's hopefully lower than the rent that you're going to charge so that you have some spread, right? Like, so I would say, here's how it would look. The seller is asking $150,000 for his property, and it's renting for $1,500 a month. Doesn't sound like a bad deal. I would want to structure a deal with him where I'm giving him maybe $800 or $900 a month on his $150,000 purchase over a period of time, and then maybe we structure a balloon payment or something like that. But why do I want to do that? I want to do that because I can take over the house, I can take over the problems, and I don't have to come out of pocket with a whole bunch of money. I can step in the shoes of the seller, take the problems off of his hand. He's used to getting that rent payment every month. Now we can just pay him an interest payment and a principal payment every month. And we get into a beautiful deal where we are going to grow equity over time, and our renter's going to pay down that loan that we borrowed from the seller. You guys see where I'm going with this? This is a great way to buy rental properties. And tired landlords, they're a great place for you to find people who would lend you potentially money. So you're getting a 2-for-1 here with this first one in seller financing. You know, what's the method? Seller financing. Where can you find it? Pro tip, go look for tired landlords. All right, let's talk about number 2, the second method that we use to find rental properties with zero money out of pocket. It's a very similar situation to what we just talked about, seller finance, but it's called lease option. And so here's something you can do even if the landlord's not tired. You could start targeting landlords and calling them up and finding people who are renting below market. If you can find a landlord that's renting below market, you can negotiate with him to rent his property and ask him for an option to purchase it for a period of time. So what would that look like? We'll go back to the example of the landlord has a house that's worth about $150,000 and they're renting it for, say, $1,000 a month, but you think that market rents are $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month. So it's an attractive lease for you to take over. And at the same time, because you're taking over the lease, you're talking to the landlord, even if his house isn't for sale. Very often, landlords will agree to sell you the property on an option contract where they would give you a period of time that you could buy the house. And so what does that give them? That gives them a fixed price for a period of time that you potentially would buy the house from them. And for that, they're going to ask you to give them some option money. So you may have to go into that lease where you think you can make a spread on it for the next 5 years and negotiate a 5-year lease option contract. You're going to say, hey, I'll buy the house from you over the next 5 years at the $150,000. Here's a few $1,000s to give me the right to do that, to purchase the option. And then I'll also lease it from you for what you're asking, say the $1,000 a month that they were asking. And then you would go out and lease it to someone else for more money and take the spread. So you'd have very little money out of pocket. Maybe you could even negotiate almost no money out of pocket, and you lock up the real estate. Being a real estate a lot of times is about having control over real estate. So there's many ways that you can make real estate investing profitable. And that's what I really love about being a real estate investor. It's kind of left up to your imagination, you, the real estate investor. Again, you get paid to solve problems. So if you can figure out how to take on a property from somebody, lease it out at a low price, rent it out for a little bit higher price, make the spread, and have an option to purchase it for a window, say 0 to 5 years, anytime in there you can purchase it at the price that's agreed upon. That's a beautiful way for you to control a piece of real estate and exercise your option as it appreciates and goes up, and you lock in your profit when you buy it. Remember, guys, you make the money on the real estate when you buy. So I hope I explained lease options there, because I think it's a really cool tool. It's something that is kind of underused right now, but a way to buy real estate using this lease option. It's just something that not a lot of people are doing. You hear a lot about seller financing. You hear a lot about cash buys. You hear even a lot about buying stuff subject to, and we're going to talk about that next. So the third way that you could buy real estate with very little money out of pocket, or $0 out of pocket, and keep them as rental properties, would actually be going and finding people who have houses on the market where they got a loan 3, 4, 5 years ago when the interest rates were at all-time lows, down there at around 3% or maybe even below 3%, and you can buy their property subject to their existing loan. There's some pitfalls with this that I want to mention. There's something called the due on sale clause that you need to be aware of, but in my experience, those due on sale clauses really don't get called as long as you're making the monthly payment to the bank. But here's how the system works. You find someone who doesn't have a ton of equity, but they've got a great loan. So the amount that they're paying to the bank, because they borrowed the money so well a few years ago, is less than the amount of money that you could rent the property for. The seller wants out, and they don't have the equity to sell. So you come in and you offer to take over their loan and give them just a little bit of money to move out and go away. Remember, they had no equity. So if they sold on the market using a realtor and having closing costs and paying off the bank, they very often would be upside down and have to come to the table with money. In this case, you come in, you buy subject to their loan. So you're not going to the bank and even telling the bank what you're doing. You're just going to start making the payments as if you're the seller. You're going to set things up so that you can show the seller that you're making the payment every month. You're going to give them a small amount of money to move out of the house and go away. And then, guys, you're going to put a renter in the house and let the renter pay down that loan for you, build your equity up, hold on to this house for a long, long time. And at the end of the day, you'll pay off the bank. You'll have loads of equity. This is a beautiful way to build wealth, and it takes very little money out of your own pocket. It's a great way for beginners to buy real estate. Hell, it's a great way for anyone to buy real estate. So if you're looking for a house to move into, this strategy would work as well. You can take over existing loans that people have where they want out. They say they got a new job in Connecticut and they're selling their house in Orlando, Florida, and they have no equity. You can come in and buy that house with very little equity, but a great loan and an affordable price that you can pay monthly. Live in the house for the next 10 years, pay down the loan. The house will appreciate like mad. And 10 years from now, you sell it and you make a pile of cash. What's better than that? Then, guys, stay tuned to the last one because I'm going to tell you my very favorite when we get through all of them. I'll let you know which one I prefer to do in today's market right now. And I actually do all of them, but I want to let you know which one I think is the very best way for new people to become real estate investors with very little money out of pocket. But this fourth one, this is called creative financing. And you can use creative financing either by using existing equity that you have in some other real estate and get like a HELOC loan on your house and use that money to go and buy other real estate for cash flow, or find private lenders or hard money lenders. These are other people that want to be real estate investors, but they'll back you when you find the deal of a lifetime, and they'll lend you the money, and you're able to just go out and put the work in until you find the great deal and then bring it to a hard money lender or a private money lender and have them put up the money, at least the lion's share of it, if not all of it. And through the combination of hard money lenders and private money lenders, you can very likely buy real estate and have zero money out of your own pocket. And we've done this on several occasions. So, guys, I don't always love to take all of the equity out of every property, and I think that it can be dangerous, but if you've got the deal of a lifetime and there's still equity in it, this is a really good way. A hard money lender is going to lend you, say, 75 or 80% of the after repaired value, or maybe they're going to have rules that they're only going to lend you 60% of the after repaired value, and you need a private money lender to come in and take the gap, the difference. So I hope you're following what I'm saying. They're two different individuals here. One is a real estate investor that's decided to lend what we call hard money, so high interest rate real estate in first mortgage positions, and they'll have their own set of criteria on what they lend on. And you'll have to jump through those hoops for them, but when you find the deal of a lifetime, they'll give you the lion's share of the money. And then to get the rest of the money, you go to this second group called private lenders, and they come in and partner with you on the rest of the equity, and you pay each of these people an interest rate. You go and do all of the work, get it fixed up, get it rented out, get it cash flowing, pay each of your lenders, make the spread, or pay each of your lenders, build it up so that it's got some equity, and then sell it real fast for a pile of cash. This is a great way, again, for real estate investors to get started in real estate, to get involved with becoming a real estate investor while you build a bankroll. I want to mention here, guys, I think that you should be putting your money to work as hard as you do. We've got other content on this, and I love other people's money, but I also love, even more than that, putting my money out there and getting my money to work as hard as I do. So once you've done this a time or two and you build up a bankroll, don't be afraid to invest your own money. Don't be afraid to go and get a HELOC on your house and borrow that money at 5% and then go buy real estate where you can make 25 or 30%. Guys, this just makes sense. You want your money to work as hard as you do so that you don't always have to be the one who has to put in the work. So I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about the fifth way that you can buy real estate and get into the real estate game, get out of the rat race with zero money out of your pocket. So number 5 is partnerships. It's my favorite way, guys. Thanks for staying in to the last one. Why are partnerships so valuable, and why are they my preferred way that I like to invest in real estate? Let me tell you. Either you can be the person who's driving the ship and you find other people who have some money. That's a great way to do it. Or you've never done anything and you don't have any money, but you're able to go out there and just hit the streets, work your ass off until you find the deal of a lifetime. Guys, I say this all the time. It's a common thread here. The money's not the most important part of the deal. You are. So that's why I like partnerships, especially with people who can find the deal of a lifetime. I'm pretty good at finding great deals, and I've been able to form partnerships with people who have had money for years and years. That's been the way that we've done it. Now, 25 years later, we've got a nice bankroll. And I said earlier, I want to put my money out there to work as hard as I do. So when you, a new real estate investor, can go out and find the deal of a lifetime and bring it to me, I'm happy to fund your deal. I like being in business with people who are rainmakers, people who can go find the deal of a lifetime. That's why I think partnerships are so valuable. You can be a new real estate investor who's never done anything, but you work your ass off. You go find the deal of a lifetime and you bring it to a community like we've got on this YouTube channel or over on the Skool platform where we have the Flip Flop Flipper real estate community and we even have the Apex community. Guys, you can find the descriptions for both of those inside of the description to this video. So look, partnerships are my favorite way to invest in real estate because it gives us so many options. I can partner with people who are smarter than me and who have done more than me and have more money than me, and I can bring just this great deal of a lifetime. Or I can be the guy who's got some experience and has some money, and you bring the deal of a lifetime. It doesn't matter how they get set up, as long as the partnership is formed in a way that it's equitable for everybody. Partnerships are the greatest thing since sliced bread, as far as I'm concerned, guys.